When I was around 10 years old, my mom sent me and my brother into the market to sell a few old crates so we could buy vegetables to bring back for lunch. If we couldn't sell the crates that day, we would not get to eat. Last year, I sold my business in Manhattan and own 5 businesses around the USA. This is my story, and I hope it helps many of you. I belong to the indigenous tribes of Balochistan in Pakistan, but my father actually took us from the villages into the slum communities of Pakistan so my sisters and I could get an education. This was a very rare thing. For a father to do something like this was extraordinary and in fact very much frowned upon. But that, I think, was the first time when my life and the lives of hundreds and thousands of people and women around Pakistan started changing. Growing up, I knew that there was something very different about me. I got to go to school. I got to have crayons. I got to color while my cousins would be doing house chores or they would have to be secluded. Yes, there was a lot of beauty in our culture that I admired so much. And a lot of times I even envied the girls in the village because they got to sing with their mothers and learn to drum and dance and everything. My life and my freedom somehow felt like a debt to me. And I knew that there will be a time when I would work hard to return all the gifts that were given to me. What I didn't know was that that time was going to come sooner than I thought. I was still a teenager when my cousin was murdered because she fell in love with someone. And this more than anything shocked me because the culture that I love so much, the culture that I cherish and am so connected to it, I want to celebrate every day, there is a part in it that a few people believe still to this day where love, falling in love is sinful, and I couldn't stand that. I started my work by writing poetry, by talking about the girls who couldn't speak, who couldn't share their stories, by sharing my grief over what I had witnessed in my tribe. And somehow I felt like the more I am able to tell this to the world, the more I share this story to everyone, I feel like there would be other powerful beings who are stronger than me would actually rise and do something about this. But then soon I realized that I wasn't on the right path and I had to make a change in the strategy. That was the first time I found out the power of pivot. I feel like everything that happened from that first moment, I realized that I could make my strategy better. That really changed everything that came for the rest of my life. That first pivot was to go door to door to get other girls encouraged and empowered to come and join this campaign. And soon I was making these girls groups everywhere, boys groups, and encouraging them to talk about their rights. This felt perfect, but it just wasn't enough. Soon, within a year or something, I realized, okay, the youngsters are all hyped up. They want to make a difference, but it's the society that's actually not changing. So I knew that I have to go big. That was my second pivot. I pivoted by launching an online and offline campaign called Wake Up Campaign Against Honor Crimes. I went into the streets with teams of people, with groups of people protesting the violent acts against women and encouraging and enforcing the governments to change their policies about women's rights. Somehow, while this was a lot of noise, it just felt like something was missing still. Because each time I went back to the village, there was a cousin of mine would know what was going on, and I was doing all these things for them, but nothing had changed in the villages. And that is when I did my third pivot. I decided that instead of doing something that would take decades to change, I'm going to focus directly on the tribal women, my women, by bringing them together, teaching them about their rights and educating them, and at the same time giving them an income support. I felt like there was power when a woman received money that she had made. Something about her changed. And that pivot truly was, I think, the best thing that we ever did. Now, the problem was the women made the products. We tried to sell them around Pakistan, but nothing happened. So I had to do a fourth pivot. This time, I decided that we're going to go global. We're going to create a market where women's products are westernized and they're shared into the Western markets. So we launched Pakistan's first ever tribal women fashion brand. We actually did like this whole fashion show and it was beautiful. We brought the women from the tribal areas and we brought top models of Pakistan who wore the products they made and walked on runway. It felt like a dream. And that just changed everything. It was really a powerful moment for all of us. After that, I realized we have a system. We go into a village, we work with these women, we educate them about their rights, we train them on how to make products that are beautiful. We take their products to the Western markets. They're not doing it fast enough. So I did my fifth pivot. This time, I came to the USA and launched a non-profit to fund other non-profits in Pakistan whom we would train and they would scale the work we were doing. Now we were going to be scaling our work all around Pakistan and it worked. Soon we were working everywhere. Now a problem came though. Fundraising and crowdsourcing changes year by year. Things actually don't stay the same if political situations change, if people stop donating, the same organizations that once had a lot of funding to give you don't have enough money. So when we faced that issue, my husband and I, who I met in the US, that was a long separate story I might share in a different vlog, but he and I started this cafe called the Chai Spot, a peace-building place where we bring Pakistani products made by women in America and make chai, the best chai people have ever tasted, the real chai. And we launched that cafe and decided to give 50% of the profits to the projects we were doing in Pakistan. It blew up. It became so big that the next thing we did was we went all the way to Manhattan and made the Chai Spot in Manhattan. And it also blew up. It also became so big. However, it was around this time, around 2018, 2019, I started noticing something in me that was very strange. I felt like there was a fatigue coming over me that just never was there before. Yes, I've had health problems before. I've had a stroke when I was 21 years old. I've had issues with fainting a lot as well when I was a teenager, but this was very different. It was a kind of fatigue that just would not go away. In 2020, when I got pregnant, then it really hit me that something in my body was wrong, and it got worse as I got pregnant. I actually claimed I have burnout. I wrote to my network, I shared it online, but I was diagnosed with lupus and Hashimoto's. And the exhaustion was so much that I could not do more work. So we sold the location in Manhattan, came back to Arizona, and focused on building our businesses here and the work we do in Pakistan. We have decreased our work so much that I feel like I'm semi-retired, which I know my husband wouldn't agree and a lot of my friends won't agree. But it just feels like a luxury to be able to rest a few days in the week. And when I have started doing that now, I feel like finally it's time that I share my 2 decades of journey with the world. With this new channel, what I want to do is I want to share everything that I learned. I had to teach myself everything, and now I want to share all those skills with whoever's watching this so they can benefit from it